I've read the book, and I urge you all to read the book. I'm looking around the room, and most of you are in it. Because as I was reading it, there were so many names cropping up, I thought, if everyone comes to the launch, we're going to fill it easily. And here we are. It's incredibly vivid, particularly that 80s period that I think most of us remember. It was really vividly written, and it all kind of comes roaring back. The characters, the places, the venues, and there's lots of Hume stories. My God, the wild days. Bang on the Wall, Berlin, Middleton Civic Hall, the venue, the PSV, the kitchen, John Kennedy, Lee Pickering, Carl Burns, Martin Coogan, Aubrey, Stephen Bunn, Phil Corbell, Sarah, and of course Rat. There he is. And I have to say that the early chapters, which is Mark growing up in the 1970s, absolutely amazing, tremendous, very honest. And I don't think you'll mind me saying, kind of proper poverty, desperation. We'll talk a bit about it this evening. But I think it's probably difficult for people to know how much of their early years to include, or whether you race on ahead to your first Peel session or something. But I'm really glad that he put down in writing and documented his early years, because it's a tremendous story, and it tells us a lot about him as a determined human being, to make something of himself and to make a life and a work out of what he went through in his childhood. And the person I'm talking about is going to come on stage and join me, Mark Hoyle.
Hey, thanks folks, nice one coming out. I'm just been blessed, people say, you're all going to be like, pass the tissues, for the first chapter. But I can't help that, because you've all, I'm sorry, speaking for you now, but, people with less fractured upbringings might go, this is really, really heavy. But you can see them all right, can't you? Basically, my mum was dying, She had a very complicated life, she had a lot to deal with, and here's me, quite a bright, inquisitive kid, what's this, who's that, what's your maiden name? She didn't have a maiden name. She kind of knew she was going to have to leave me alone, when I was quite young. But she probably thought I was going to be younger than I actually was. I was 9 in the end. But that's what I remember of my childhood, really, is like forehead to forehead, just lying down with my mum, just talking to her. Apparently I had a bit of an Irish accent, and everything. What she did was taught me to read and to be happy with my own company. And in the vacuum that followed when she died, that was everything, and it came out the other end of it with obsessive kind of love of music and a knowledge of it, and just simply no other choice for me, I wasn't interested in anything else. She told me that my dad was dead, you see, so for most of my childhood, when I was young, I thought my dad was dead. Anyway, I'm in a kids' home in Rochdale, and honestly, this is, it was a cruel place, I'm not going to go on about it, that's not why we're here, really, but it was a cruel, unyielding, horrible place. So I'm there in care in Rochdale, and I've got a fierce Manchester accent. I don't know if anyone's noticed, but I was like, really. He's too big for his booze and all this sort of stuff from the Rochdale children, and it was a horrendous time. So out of the blue, I get a shock. My dead dad's here, going to come and see you. That's a good trick, And he turns up, and I had met him before, and I didn't know him, but I was told to call him Uncle Tommy. Sorry, I should have guessed you a bit more here, shouldn't I? It was a conversation. But I've known him as Uncle Tommy, and he turned up with an Easter egg from Thornton's with a mark written on it in icing, which is like revolutionary. I hadn't seen such a thing. You'll find out if you read in the book. I ended up living on my own really young. My dad turned up, so I left the kids' home to live with him. It didn't work out, but instead of me going back to the kids' home, because I only had 2 years left, you leave care at 18 anyway. They set me up in a flat, They used to do it with pregnant girls and stuff, It was dead unusual for a boy, So I was just, music was everything, and I was ready for it, I was perfect age for punk. Perfect age. In fact, the first gig, and I'm going to be reading a little section from it, Martin Coogan's around here somewhere, And I was chaperoned by him. We went to see the Damned in the adverts in Middleton Hall. And it was like, Middleton Hall, a lot of fighting there. I mean, Martin, we were walking down and all that. Later on, of course, they ended up playing music with Martin and became absolutely firm friends, you know. But he was the older brother chaperoning us, you know. And but that was another piece of luck, Middleton, you know, just to be there, because for some reason, Middleton Hall were visited by some really influential bands, you know. The first 2 gigs I saw there were the Damned, the Jam, there was X-Ray Specs, the Buzzcocks loads of times, the Adverts, which I loved, Mystium Roots and the Ruts and all sorts of other things. And that was because Middleton, you know, when bands played Electric Circus on a Sunday, they sometimes put a gig on a Saturday apparently, you know, just to make it pay. So just freak of nature, and out of that came myself and the Chameleons, you know, and these people that are touched by punk in Middleton, you know. Dave Gedge, you know, he was a Middleton lad. He went to university in Leeds, so he's perceived to be a Leeds band at wedding present. But it all started with those gigs being on there, and it's just a piece of luck, you know what I mean? Hanging around at the Coogan's house with David, got to know Martin and watched him play guitar, and he taught me bar chords, which was, like, you know, I mean, all of a sudden I was equipped to write songs just by doing this one shape, moving it up and down, and anyone, you know, 1, 5, 7, oh God, it is, isn't it? You know, and it's like, you know, Martin, wherever you are, you know, you gave me the vocabulary to express myself, which might have made all the difference, you know. These interventions happened, you know, the Coogans, Louise, you know, Martin, you know, all these different people helped, you know, by taking me seriously. They probably didn't realise they were doing it themselves. It's just that, you know, in a vacuum, in the void that I come from, everything mattered. That's why, you know, I love the people I love so much. But luckily, I had a support network of people I didn't know I had, you know what I mean? I just didn't. But Roger and Kathy, for instance, in the band, you know, kind of looked after me. I had burnt me flat down once, you know, and Andy put me around, you know, come in, just didn't think twice about it, because, you know, I'm from a one person, you know, I'm the only kid in the family and all that, but people have a lot larger families. They're kind of used to bringing their friends around and that, you know what I mean? So it wasn't that much of a deal for me, but for them, but it probably meant everything to me. You know, and it really, look now, here we are 35 years later, and I just love the pants off the people that have helped me, you know, and they didn't need to. Everything you do is a choice, you know, it's like myself, you know, got a lot of time in the, what would you say, in the Badlands, you know, but, you know, each of those people's lives, it's a choice, you know, you're going to be a dick or you're going to be a good guy, you know, as simple as that. And luckily, the book is a story of good interventions, you know what I mean, like cool people, you know, every now and again just seeing the worth in me, or, you know, because I was pretty, you know, unusual cat really, you know, a lot of the time, but, you know, now and again replenished like a battery charger or something by the love and encouragement of good people, and I think that's what the story is. I think it was, you know, good for that, good for them. Cool, thank you. Okay, A17 at Deeply Vale in Rochdale. Free festival. Vibrant Thigh headlined a benefit gig for the Deeply Vale Festival at Band on the Wall, which got us an invite to play at the festival itself. As our van descended into the valley, I was plunged headfirst into a strange and alien world that was half refugee camp, half medieval battleground. Tents with signs offering LSD and Afghani black for sale mingled with healthy food stalls, and everywhere you looked, feral, scruffy, happy children. This was a major eye-opener for me. It was a head-on collision with the counterculture that I'd known about, but was yet to properly experience. Punks, hippies, bikers, rastas, and everything in between gathered in the hills outside Rochdale and stayed for weeks. In front of my teenage eyes, a society in microcosm had taken residence in the outskirts of the very town that treated me so badly as a child in care. This beautiful valley had transformed itself into a sprawling mini-city, populated by people that you simply did not see anywhere else. Who were these strange folk? How did they live? What was in that cup of tea? The whole caboodle was entirely free. Money was the enemy here, and now use this may sound, it kind of worked. The prime movers here were the traveller community, families that had dropped out from mainstream society years ago and become mobile, moving around the country in convoys of garishly painted, mechanically suspect vehicles. Having celebrated the solstice at Stonehenge in June, it would hit Wales in early summer as the first psilocybin mushrooms popped their cheeky little heads above ground before ending up in the Lancashire hills. They led by example. just free food, served in steaming bowls of meatless stew to anyone and everyone. They built teepee encampments and campfires for their dirty-faced, half-naked kids to dance around. In a quiet, unpreachy way, they showed city dwellers like me that there was an underground way of living. Idealism reigned supreme. The bill was amazing. The Fall, Misty and Roots, The Ruts, Speed Energy, ATV. The previous year had seen Steve Village's head music attract a 20,000 crowd, so I was equal parts nervous and excited on my tiny mind. Manchester Beacon's The Cake Shop device floated over this biblical scene as midnight approached and it was showtime for Vibrant Fine. We were probably a little too clean looking for most of the audience, but thousands watched and listened. A group of third-wave punks, more about fashion than revolution, crowded the stage beneath my feet and subjected me to the most disgusting barrage of spitting I'd seen since the days of the adverts or Ultravox at Middle Typical. It was everywhere. Dripping off the microphone stands, I dodged and weaved. Hadn't you got the memo? No, never thought that this was cool. We bravely got through our set as the final notes of Sacred Heart ringing round the valley. Instead of going home with everybody else, I decided to stay. No tent, no money, no nothing. But I ended up bringing every ounce of pleasure out of this amazing place. Misty and Roots were a revelation. I passed their van before they played, clouds of weed smoke billowing out the rear door. I had no idea of the impact they'd have on me. They came on early in the morning, and their mournful, slow-paced music entered my heart. Anthony Burgess's piano has given me the first note of Swerve. I'm going to do it a cappella for you. And get this, both our telepathy works. Just let me say something first. You and yours deserve everything you ever had in reserve. Turn into a blur, so everybody wonders where you are. Jump over the curb and escape unheard. Search for the right words. Search for the missing words. I'm a friend of yours. I send my thoughts. Search for the right words. Oh, and in this battle of nerves, it can't hurt. Swerve or get hurt. The choice is yours. The choice is yours. Growing up in the dirt, you learned what I learned. And this battle of nerves, they can hurt but never come first. Search for the right words. Search for the missing words. Swerve. Yeah.
Just want to express my absolute love for you.
Oh, man.
And what a huge part you have been in my life. Like you spoke about your friends who I didn't know, because I was a student, and you taught me so much, you know, playing guitar, you know, partial chords and open strings, and your love of Northern soul music and all of that. It was such a huge thing on me, and I'm so happy for you tonight. It means the world to me.
Oh,
so enjoy your night. Enjoy your night.
Thank you to Root for asking me to do this, and for you all coming out tonight, and most of all, thank you for the inspiration, Mark Hoyle.
Thank you. Nice one.